Condo versus townhouse. I will be the first to tell you I'm not a fan of either one of these, and I'm going to tell you why later. But as you can see this picture here that we're looking at, you've got a left and a right. Which one's a townhome? Which one's a condo? Can we tell by just looking at the picture? Oh no. What is a condo? Condo, short for condominiums, tend to be units within a single large building, typically a high rise. There's a common entrance and sometimes a shared garage. These homes are typically on one level, like traditional apartments. Because condos tend to have more residents per building than townhouses communities, they sometimes have amenities such as pools, clubhouse, library, gym, or even special services like a concierge or dry cleaning delivery. What is a townhouse? Townhouses are individual structures with multiple levels built side by side, sharing exterior walls with neighbors, not to be confused with the row houses, typically on historic urban neighborhoods, which are independent single-family residences. These homes tend to have more square footage and more spacious floor plans than condos. A townhome community can give homeowners a hybrid experience of living in their own houses. There may even be an attached private garage while having some of the perks of community membership. Increasingly, townhouses communities are featuring common facilities like a park or a pool. Some even have a little town centers, rows of shops, services, or restaurants. Now, what's the difference between condos and townhomes? As you can see, we're seeing cost, insurance, maintenance, amenities, location, and then here's the big one, HOAs. HOA is Homeowner Association. Let's see if it'll pull up an actual definition of homeowners. So, okay, this is good. So what is a restricted conveyance? Restricted conveyance definition. Restricted conveyance is a binding legal agreement that limits what you can do with your property. In general, these conveyances are part of the property deed. So when you buy a home in a homeowners association or HOA, you agree to those terms. In general, HOAs use restricted conveyance as a way to maintain property values. The idea is that if everyone follows the rules, the neighborhood will retain its appeal and everyone living in the neighborhood can expect to see their home values protected. Not a bad concept. Not a bad concept at all. Except for a lot of these rules, some of them will be more restricted than others. So just a little bit on HOA, because this is the big reason I do not like condos or townhomes. But that doesn't mean that condos or townhomes aren't a good fit for other people. HOAs, they charge a monthly fee. This monthly fee is all different price points, but typically you're looking at $100 a month for the HOA. Now the HOA, if your grass gets too high, they'll send you a notice, and if you don't cut your grass at a certain point or you don't respond to the notice, they will fine you. You'll have to pay a fine just like you would if you was speeding and going down the road and a police officer pulled you over and you got a ticket. You would get a fine. So that is one reason I do not like condos or townhomes. The second reason is even painting something as simple as your front door. A lot of times they have restrictions on colors that you can use. And those restrictions on the colors, they're going to be smaller rather than larger. So something very small, you can't really make the home yours. Now the benefits of that is, well, now you don't have to deal with those neighbors who do something crazy to their homes, right? But I think that's the beauty of home ownership anyway. All right, so enough about HOA. We understand HOAs restrict what you can do with the property, and they charge you monthly fees for what you can do with the property. They charge you in order to tell you what you can do with your property and what you can't. What? Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so condos. Let's go over here to the whiteboard, and we're going to draw us a house, okay? And we're gonna draw a house. All right, right now, one family lives inside this house. So we've got, this is my beautiful family. It's Tim, Sally, and Jacob. All right, their son Jacob. They live in this house. Now this house has a yard, and Jacob's got a little swing set in the back. And in the house, they do whatever they want to. But also, when they come outside, they are also allowed to do whatever they want to because they own the property. All right, so Tim and his family owns this property outright. It is a single family residence, or SFR, for single family residence. And they own the land all the way down to the center of the earth and all the way up to the top of the sky around this little boundary right here. That's Tim's property. Okay. Now it's a single family residence again. Now we're going to come down and we're going to draw the exact same house. And we'll even put a swing set in the back. Okay. Now, this house is owned by Ben, and Ben, oh, can't really see Ben, can you? All right, so Ben lives in this house, and this house has an HOA. Ben pays the HOA $100 a month, and Ben wants to paint his door. The HOA says no. There's nothing Ben can do about it. If Tim wants to paint his door, Tim paints his door. There's nothing anybody else can do about it. Okay? Now, not only is this an HOA, but this is a townhouse. Okay, so Ben lives in a townhouse, and I'm gonna actually grab Ben. I'm gonna move him right there. All right, Ben lives in a townhouse, and this townhouse has an HOA, right? And right next door to this townhouse is another house. All right, so the exact same house right next door to it. And again, we'll put the HOA back up. All right. And since Ben is in the townhouse, he has to comply with the HOA, so does his neighbors. So that might be a benefit for Ben. Now Ben, he owns the ground, right? So he owns this. He owns his house, his roof, his door, just like Tim does. So does his neighbor. He owns the yard, so he puts a swing set in the back, as long as his HOA says it's okay. But his HOA actually has rules that they're not allowed to have any swing sets in the backyard unless there's a 6-foot fence gated with cameras on it. So now Ben has to pay for 6-foot fence with cameras on it. He doesn't have money to do that, but he did have money for a $200 swing set, so now he has to get rid of his swing set. Right? Now, going to have another one, and this one is owned by this guy right here, and his name is John. Now, John lives in a condo or a condominium. Again, they have an HOA. Now, John wants a swing set, but he actually doesn't even own land. There's a room inside of here. This is John's bed. That's John's bed right there. You know, here's his shower, right? This is my great artwork, right? So everything inside of the house, John owns. He owns the interior walls and everything inside. But as soon as he steps outside, he no longer owns the front door, the siding, the roof, the yard. He doesn't own any of this. John literally only owns the interior, from the interior of his wall and everything encompassing the inside of the house. Does that make sense? So there's a floor plan, and John has a front door and a back door. And he's got a bed, and this will be his kitchen. And then not ideal spot, we'll put his bathroom right there, and then this will be his living room. Okay, John owns everything in all four of those rooms except when he goes outside. So when John goes outside, he no longer owns any of those things. He has no say-so on any of those things. That is a condo or a condominium. Ben, he lives in a townhouse. He owns the land. He owns the house. But he has an HOA. They don't allow him to do anything. Tim, he lives in a single-family residence. He can do whatever he wants to. No HOA. Yes, there are HOAs that govern single-family residence as well in certain neighborhoods. All right. So typically, what you're going to see is, just like in the picture, right here, you're going to see townhomes that are roofs connected or one giant roof, and they share exterior walls. All right, so in this case they would have a front yard, each one of these people would own their house and their front yard. So all this, right? All these things, this would all be owned. But then they share this wall. And their roof lines are actually connected. So that's where the HOA comes in. And now, all of a sudden, these four units, these four buildings, is one building. They need a new roof. Well, now the HOA is going to come in, and whatever their policy is, this person will have to pay 25%, 25%, 25%, 25% to equal 100% of roof costs, and they would share that cost because their buildings are all connected. And you can't just replace this roof. You've got to replace all the roofs. So because of that, That's where the HOA would come in and do what they do, and they would tell each individual homeowner what needs to happen next. So again, they share an exterior wall, and they share expenses on some of the larger ticket items. Some would say that that might be a benefit as far as owning a townhome. Now, you're going to have the exact same thing in a condo. So most condos, like they said, would be in a building, high rise, etc. Oops, and sorry, I was supposed to draw all that in red because nobody owns anything that you're looking at right now. Okay, so condo, literally, whoever owns this building right here, they only own the interior space, the air inside, right? The interior walls, interior floors, all those things, that's the only thing they own. Yes, they can change the floor color, they can change the interior wall color, they can make all those decisions all they want to, but anything on the outside is not their decision. Depending on what policies, if the roof needs to be replaced, most likely it still is shared expense. Windows need to be replaced. It's going to be this, like if this window right here is busted out, it'll be this person's expense, not everybody, but this window would have to match everybody else's windows. So there's a lot of rules and regulations, and as you can see, actual ownership just goes down. You start at single family residence, you got a townhome or townhouse, and then you got the condo. Now, the training did mention row houses. Row houses are going to be more like this. In this example, it's houses just side by side by each other. Those would be row houses.